I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing or exactly why I'm doing this. It's a compulsion that I feel I've got to do before I go. For some reason, yeah, let's just get on with this story here. You know, okay, shrinks, according to television anyway, and that's a lot of it, say that everything starts, you carry mummy and daddy issues all the way through your life, etc. Okay, so I can't just, even though I was, led to believe that shrinks are just for, the lunatics, that Nietzsche and Nietzsche and Jung and all the boys were completely wrong, and there's got to be something to this stuff. So the last few years I've had a lot of time alone here in this, what I call now the cockpit. And yeah, if I had gone to a shrink, they'd always say, speak your mind out and get it off your chest. It's all supposed to help. So I'm going to do this before I carry on, because this has been bugging me. And the bugbear I have is that I think I see something so clearly and simply, and I'm always misunderstood. And I have a reputation, even as I get older, for being a little curt, like, for God's sake, get to the point. I think in Friends it was like, get there quickly, get there faster. But it's not like that, it's just pure frustration. Okay, here's an example. I've been like this my whole life due to all sorts of circumstances, but once upon a time, I came out of a horrible boarding school under very unreal circumstances, holiday, and mum and dad were in the process. That's why I was in boarding school. They'd been fighting a lot, and I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, this time I came back, and I don't remember all the details. A 10-year-old doesn't remember these things, but I remember this distinctly. I was picked up in a big black car, and fancy car went to a house in Santon somewhere. It was a big house with a huge, big pointed roof, and a big double door. And I came in, and there was about 4 or 5 adults around, none of whom I knew. There was no sign of mum or dad anywhere. I don't know why, but they didn't come into the picture at all on this trip. I don't know. I got off the train, was picked up. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is, these guys are all fidgy. And this is 10-year-olds. Now, don't ever kid yourself. 10-year-olds, they intuition about some sort of thing. And I already knew something was completely wrong. Not just strange men in suits, Africa, middle of the day, suits out in a big house, big car, strangers, and they're all vegetarian. We brought you, specially for you, a chocolate cake. Oh, chocolate? Guys, if you knew me at all, it would have been my second choice. I'd rather have a strawberry sponge. That was, Anyway, to cut a long story short, I do remember this part. They hummed and hawed and ooh, this, that, and the other. Your mum and your dad, we didn't want this. But your mum and dad both insisted, and the judge said, we are lawyers, by the way. I'm your mum's lawyer, and that's your dad's lawyer. And 10-year-old, yeah. But what? Get on with it. And the judges said we didn't want to have to do this because we think it's grossly. Yes. It's unfair, but you've got to decide if you want to live with your mummy or your daddy. And I said, well, why? And I remember them coming out as well. They're not going to be living together anymore. You might have known. Yes, I had known. I'd known about them fighting and being miserable, as far as I could remember. That's beside the point. The last year I'd been sent away for reasons that a kid wasn't supposed to understand. But hey, it was to do with the war and the domestic war. And so anyway, the judge had said the kid must decide. I remember thinking, what's this all about? I still didn't understand it. I said, well, to me it was like, bing, obvious. I mean, instantly, what's all the big deal about it? You want to live with mummy or daddy? Where is Arno going? What? Where's Arno going? My dog, my Alsatian, my beloved, my bro. Oh, no, he'll be going with your father, because your father, you see, is keeping the house, and your mum has gone off with the policeman. No, they didn't say that, but Dad's keeping the house, and because Arno's a big dog, he needs a garden, and your mum can't have him. So there we are. I'll go with my dad. Wherever Arno goes, I'll go with Arno, as long as I get to see mum sometimes on holidays and stuff. Oh, yes. Oh, the relief was palpable. I couldn't believe it. I thought, God, adults, parents, it's stupid. It was so easy. What's all the fuss about? Anyway, I think that simple attitude that other people would have said if I ever tell us, oh, so dramatic, and you can't ask a kid that. Well, this kid was pretty fucked up about it anyway, I mean, I was still wetting my bed in the boarding school they'd sent me to. It was horrible. But it wasn't horrible. I learned all sorts of wonderful things. I had such a grand time. I've had no regrets ever with anything in my life that attitude I've obviously carried. It's within me. And I think it's because I looked at my parents and thought, so what's the big deal? I knew them to be plonkers. Right. Come on, I remember being a little boy and sitting down to dinner, and we had this was Holy Catholic like, and I'd been an altar boy up in this horrible school. But anyway, the bottom line is, we'd sit down. I had a little glass of wine, and I had table manners, all sorts of things. And, a little glass of wine. Imagine that today. And so I was treated with that sort of thing as a young adult. Once, I mean, and it was only because other people that were strange. They must have read somewhere, this is the 60s, right? That to bond with your kid, you don't call them mummy and daddy, Neil and Claire. And I remember having to call them Neil and Claire out of the blue for a while. Neil and Claire. And it felt really strange. And, anyway, it didn't last very long because obviously other people would have frowned and said, what, you allow your kid to call you Neil and Claire? So I went back to having to call them mummy and dad. I didn't think it was mummy and mum and dad. Hey, ma. It's always ma and dad. Yeah. So this kind of... Come on, man. It's been... No regret. It's been absolutely wonderful. And it gave me an opportunity to think differently. And that's why later in life, I think I've been misunderstood about things I see so simply. The internet. The fight to get people to believe me that this was the future. I had a background in it. From Caxton, Noel Coburn, and marketing combined. I could see all these things perhaps, but even still, this was like, Yato melon, baby, for the future, guys. No. So, facts, children. Anyway, thank God Anastopoulos backed me, and I got a partner, a Swedish partner, Michael, because I needed to buy computers, but I went to Sweden. That's all I needed to find out when I saw this, discovered a screen in color, Windows 95. I went, this is my salvation. I was not going to be able to survive on the island because I was, all the Albanians had got free, and somebody pulled down a wall and the whole of Europe changed. And I was getting older, and younger, cheaper labor was more than abundant. My donkey man neighbor, Miltiades, his wife used to be a cleaner. Well, suddenly she had her own Albanian cleaner. So the dynamics changed more than people would realize on our little island because of the Soviet Union's collapse. So I was out of it. And then this internet business came along. And I thought, that's my salvation because of my background. Wow. So I went to Oscar, who was my girlfriend at the time, teenage son, great kid. And he said, what is this? I said, I've got a business card here from my best mate. He's in Canada, and he said he's got email or something, and it's got this funny little squiggle A on it. And he said, yeah, that's an email. Give it to me. So he goes on his computer. By the way, as I said, I was amazed. First of all, it was in color. It could play music. It could play CDs. And so he goes, and then literally a minute less than, a little ding, whatever it was, ding, hey, welcome to the internet, it's Richard. I said, that's from Ottawa. Here, we were in Stockholm. Yeah. I said, oh man, I must say hi. He said, well, what do you want to say? So I said, hey mate, so this is your email and welcome back. And we about 4 or 5, and I said to Oscar, how much did that cost? He said, nothing. I said, no matter how many I send? He said, no. And he showed me pictures, and you can send images. Granted, they were very slow. But I went, wow. So I can do this from Outer Mongolia, providing I have what you tell me. Computer, a phone line, yeah, and electricity. Well, check. We've got the Nidra. That's my future. Anyway, no. Cut a long story short, it's in the book I wrote things, but I did it, and that was it. And then after that came along something else, because I realized that the internet was quickly being abused. Even back then, it was like David, all this magnificent machine. To me, it was instantly like, up there with a fire and the wheel. This was as bigger than flight in proportions of what it can do here for everybody, That's why I got into this asteroid business. But no. Anyway, it's another story for another day. This is just seeing if works here for the first time. And on compulsion, I have no reason to want followers or likes or any possible... No, not after that. This is just for... Fuck, I don't know why, but it's just for...